So Mr. Gentry serves as the criminal court clerk. A lot of people may not know what the criminal court clerk does, but he's actually responsible for doing a lot of great things in our community in terms of restoration of voter rights, expungement of records, going out into the community to make sure that folks can get their records clean so that they can find those jobs that they desperately need. He's also someone who served in a lot of capacities, ranging from the Chamber of Commerce. He worked as a vice president of the Chamber of Commerce. He was CEO of Banquet. Also has worked in insurance, had a story career at Tennessee State University and many roles. And also, he's the person who I consider to be my top mentor. Because when Mr. Gentry ran for mayor in 2007, he said something to me. I was a recent graduate from school. He said, I cannot run for mayor in Nashville without having a Tennessee State or Fisk University student at my side. And that's what started my career in politics and government, so I owe a lot to Mr. Gentry, and I want to publicly acknowledge him for that. So he received his bachelor's and master's degrees from Tennessee State University in education. And he's also a proud father of 4 daughters. I can probably tell you a lot more about him, but I'll let him do that for himself. So without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome Mr. Howard Gentry.
Yeah, he said he didn't say cut outside, turn to the corporate, and should say it. But that's okay. 52 years of capital is saying something. 52 years of anything is saying something these days. How's everybody doing? So after they asked me what was I going to talk about, I told him I didn't know. But that's not all the way true. He did leave one thing out in my resume though, and that's that I can dance. Yeah. I can dance. I'm going to eventually become one of them, but they told me I wasn't old enough. I'm older. I'm older than some of y'all. Huh? That's right. Well, I'm my mom's son, and we're a dancing family. I love to dance. But I also love to come to a room like this and see what I see. And it really is a little humbling to me to stand up before you because they want me to talk about my life, but also as it relates to Black history. And as I look around this room, I see mentors. I see people who led the way for me. I see people who kept me only he can just walk in front of me with the trash can while I'm talking. Because he's my guy. And this is the room that we're in. And so really I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable because y'all know me. And so I can talk about all the flowery stuff that I've done in my life, and there's at least 75% of the room that know other stuff. So I don't have to play while I'm up here. I don't have to make up stuff. But I am going to tell you all that I have finally come to a point in my life. Sunday I turned 72 years old. And yes, and I've come to a point in my life where I understand the role that I played, my role that I played as it relates to Black history. I understand who came before me. I had Bernard Lafayette, John Lewis, the whole gang sit me down one day when I was vice mayor to tell me that they lit the fire. I really didn't understand it when they told me. They said, but you got to walk through it. I'm saying, man, y'all just light the fire, y'all walk through it too. No, they still kept the fire lit. They said, you got to walk through it. And John Lewis ended up saying his favorite phrase, don't quit, don't stop, keep going. And so what they were telling me is to keep going. Don't stay here trying to light fires. We got the fire lit. You keep going. Don't let the fire burn you up. You keep going. And as you go, make sure that others get following. So I will talk about a lot of firsts, but everybody in this room, especially my age and older, have all experienced firsts because we all came up through segregation. And what we did after segregation typically were first. So all of us have blazed history. We're all a part of Black history. I just got to do it in my own space, in my own way. And I'm still doing it today. But it's because of many of you, it's because of those who came before me. And I'm humbled and I do appreciate it. I'm going to try to talk to you for a few minutes about something y'all don't know. You know the gentries, but sometimes y'all treat me like I just fell off a tree 20 years ago and landed on the ground and started doing what I do. But I told you I just turned 72. The gentries came here in 1949. There was 3 of them. My mom, my dad, and my sister. I was born in 1952. They came in 49. So I'm the only one born here. My sister was born in Columbus, Ohio, where my dad's from. My mother was born in Sparta, Georgia. My mother was the youngest of 14. Her mama died in childbirth of her 14th child. So my mom was 9 months old when mom died. My dad was an alcoholic, so he could not take care of 13 kids. And they lived on the plantation. They called them sharecroppers, but they lived on the plantation. My mother's grandfather was a slave master. My mother's grandfather, my great-grandfather, was a slave master. And so that's where the gentry started. And my mother had to be passed along to her sister in Greenville, South Carolina. And she lived right up the street from Jesse Jefferson's dad. And she remembered known Jesse since she was a baby. And then they had to move her to Boston, Massachusetts, because some of my brothers got in trouble in Sparta for looking at a lady that looked like them but wasn't the same as them. She was white. And they had to flee for their life. And their name was Laughlin. When they got to Boston, Massachusetts, then they changed their name to McLaughlin. And so my mother was born Laughlin, but she grew up McLaughlin. And so that they would not be killed. And my mother wasn't planning to go to college. She worked in a dance studio, white dance studio, and she was going to be a secretary. But her brothers and sisters decided that she was going to go to college. So at high school graduation, they asked her if she ever heard of Howard University. She said, no. They said, well, we're going to send you to Washington where your sister and mother-in-law lives, and you're going to go to Howard University. We're going to pay for the first quarter. And my mother ended up getting a fellowship, and she ended up getting a scholarship and graduated in dance. My dad was born in Columbus, Ohio. But his dad was born in Princeton, West Virginia. And my dad's grandfather was a slave master. And so that's how the Gentries and the Davises and Moores came up. And so I'm not going to tell my dad's whole story, but I am going to tell you they met in Greensboro, South Carolina, North Carolina, their first job. They got married. My dad was engaged. My mom was born to Edward Brooke, who became the governor of Massachusetts for a few days. And my mom told her friends, when my dad walked into the cafeteria, they introduced the culture. She said, I want to marry her, man. 9 months later, they were married. She went with my dad to his fiance's house and got the ring back. And they moved on. They came to Nashville, Tennessee. I was born. And for my whole life, up through high school, it was just us four. It was just us four. And so now it's a lot of gentries. I had a lot to do with that. But it was just us four. And so that's how we came up. My parents always believed in the rights of those who were oppressed, because my parents were oppressed. My parents' family was oppressed on both sides. So I know y'all are trying to do the math. Yes, both of my grandparents on both sides of my family, my great-grandparents were the slave masters. Yes. So that's where I came from. So when you look at me and look at my political life and if you really don't know me, I want you to know that we came from the roots that started our race and our culture. And my parents grew up believing that we need to do for our community, give back to our community. My parents did not grow up wealthy, they grew up poor. They worked hard for what they had, a football coach and a dance instructor. And they worked hard to build what they built for us. And they poured into us. Not just my parents, my preachers, my teachers, First Baptist Church, Capitol Hill, Calvin Smith, Senior, my teachers at Murray School, Head School, Washington Junior High, Pearl High. They all poured into us, telling us to read the books, to learn, and prepare ourselves to take our rightful place in society when our time will come. Did I believe it back then? No. But I did what I was told. But the fact is that all of these people that I just mentioned have become prophets because they prophesied my successes, but not just mine, but all of our successes. So I stand before you, and I'm leaving a lot out. I need to because I'm not the only speaker today. But I stand before you a product of greatness. But that greatness did not start with my mom and dad. My greatness started in Africa. My greatness started in Africa. My greatness started on the slave fields where this man would come down the mountain that I drove my car down from his house on top of the mountain to the bottom of the mountain. It took me 20 minutes on a winding road to get to the fields. That man had 8 children and a wife on top of the mountain and 9 children and a slave at the bottom. It took me 25 minutes to get from the top to the bottom. How long do you think it took him on a horse with no road? And they talk about sometimes minorities, I'm going there, getting ready to be the majority. You can't be mad at us, it's your fault. You're the one that came down the mountain and started planting that seed. And that seed grew and that seed became great. So don't be scared of your creation. Don't be scared. And I'm going to tell you another thing. I used to feel bad for my great-grandma because I just felt that having to live down there having kids for 2 decades from a man that has a family up on top of the mountain. But you know what? I thought about it. I said, you know what? He's not coming down and abusing her. He must have been in love. Who would go up and down a mountain that far, take that long, for that many years, just to have a moment with a woman? We could have made slaves without him coming down there. There were feelings there. So I'm going to a place right here. How can you hate me when you really love my great-grandma? How can you hate me? How can you treat me like a second class when you spent half your life riding up and down the mountain to see it? You didn't have to come back. You came back. And she didn't get pregnant every time, so you must have come back a whole lot. So how can you hate me? You don't have a right to hate me. And so I was brought up by parents that told me nobody had a right to hate me. And he said, and don't feel that you should be hated. So I don't. I work hard. I work hard to serve the public. I work hard to serve you all. My life is committed to the betterment of those who cannot do for themselves, to those who are underserved, to those who don't have the opportunities and the advantages that this world keeps from them. It's a commitment, but that commitment comes from knowing that each and every one of you come from the same types of situations. Each and every one of you come from a family who has had to survive the worst of times for you to become who you are today. I used to be not too proud of being when I was young. I wanted to be like everybody else. But I didn't know then everybody else wanted to be like me. I didn't know that. I grew my hair long, I acted a fool. Some of y'all acted a fool with me, Jan. And some of y'all did. But the fact is, I was always struggling when people would tell me, you're attention. You think you're better than everybody else. You this, you that. The fact is, my great-grandparents, I'm talking about my slave parents and all, they worked hard to build a name. They worked hard for this name. And I should not be embarrassed of this name, and none of you should be embarrassed of your names. And if somebody tells you you think you all that because of your name, you tell them you know you all that because of your name. Because everybody wants to have a name that matters and means something. And so I work to preserve my name. My daddy told me right before he died, the day before he died, he said, I'm not leaving you the money, I'm leaving it to your mama. She can give it to you if she wants to. He said, but I'm going to leave you a good name, and I hope I taught you what integrity means. Because if you take care of both of those things, you'll be great. And guess what? My mama didn't give me no money. But I took care of those names. I tried real hard. To mess it up for a while. A lot of y'all know that. But guess what? Integrity got the best of me. And integrity caused me to take care of that name. And now you can't mess my name up. As Channel 4 and the rest of them come after me every now and then. You cannot mess my name up because I'm not going to let you. I'm not going to do anything to mess my name up. I'm not going to do anything to embarrass you all. I'm not perfect. I'm not God. But I do have control of what I will and won't do. And the older I get, the more control I got. I have control of everything but my mouth. I talk too long and I might say too much. But I'm getting ready to stop now. I'm not going to be like the Baptist preacher, Lynn. I'm not going to be like the Baptist preacher. I'm not going to close 3 times. I'm going to close once. And in closing, I know I didn't give a speech. I know I didn't have everything outlined and tied it up for you. But what I know I did was share some history that you didn't know. What I know I did was share some nuggets that you probably need. And what I know I did was put myself in a position where I know I got to keep going. I got to keep working. And I got to keep doing all I can for everybody I can, while I can, as long as I can. And I promise you I will do that. I love you and I hope you know the Gentry's a little better than our history than before I started talking. Thank you very much.
So much. As a token of our appreciation, it's a thank you award presented to Mr. Howard Gentry in recognition of your hard work and outstanding dedication to the Senior Day of Love and Black History at Northwest Family YMCA. Thank you so much for your time and for your efforts. We truly appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, JDTSU. Her dad passed, and the family visitations tonight. I'm going to Chattanooga, so if I step out of here before the second dancing starts, it's because I'm going to Chattanooga for that funeral, and I hope y'all will pray for Teresa and her family. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gentry. We gonna move forward in the program. Now this lady we have that's coming up next, I'm telling you, God has a way of connecting people. And we were having our AOA Run, Walk, and Roll. It'll be coming up again in September. We had our first annual last year, 1.5 mile AOA Run, Walk, and Roll in Hamlin Park last September. And as I was trying to get in touch with everybody to see how to distribute the information, how to let the community know about what we were doing, I called radio stations, I called the news, I called everybody to try to figure out. And I said, let me call my favorite station, 88.1. So I called the radio station, and lo and behold, Miss Sharon K answered the phone. I was so shocked. I had a whole fan moment. She answered the phone, and she gave us the opportunity to come to the radio station to talk to the community about our event. Now, anybody else would do that, but to give you prime time, she didn't say, oh, just send me your information, and I'll mention it. She actually had me to come in the studio, y'all, like a celebrity on the mic, talk about our event. Let's give her a hand. But let me formally introduce her. I had to give my own personal story on how God made connections and how she is just so many connections that I've had just being connected to such a great individual. Miss Sharon Kane is a media professional for over 45 years with stints in radio, television, newspaper, well-based services, and public relations and marketing. Over her career, Sharon has broken color and gender barriers from being a radio broadcaster in the late 70s at a mainstream pop station to being the first woman general manager at Jazzy 88 WFSK FM radio. She is the creator, executive producer, and host of one of the longest continuous sponsored radio talk shows in Nashville, West 411 with Sharon K. Y'all know y'all heard we had some good news on there. Sharon has served on and chaired numerous local, national, and international boards and volunteered with dozens of organizations like she's doing on this very day. She has a long history of being a community advocate. She has 3 grown children, 13 grandchildren, and 7 great-grandchildren. Let's give it up for one of Nashville local historians, Miss Sharon K.
Hello, Nashville! Yes! As you hear me on there, that's not like that's how I am all the time. And I say hello, Nashville, no matter what hour we're going to tell you, because I don't know whether the rest of the people listen to that station now and have those ears, because we stream. We have listeners all across the world. So we are grateful for that opportunity. A couple of things. Number one, I want to set this in order. Could you please give Kiki Kelly a hand for putting on this program? Please. I just love you. She came to my partners. I said, I need you to come down to the station. We're trying to raise money because we're nonprofit. And she not only came herself, she brought her husband. And so they were a team, and they worked all weekend to help us raise the money. Because that's the only way that radio station stays on the air, okay? It's not coming from the government. It's not coming from a grant. It's not coming from this and that and this and that. It's coming from the community. So thank y'all for supporting that station for 50 years. Thank you, Nashville. And as I said about this sister right here, is that she put this program together. But isn't the place nice? The tables, everything matches. It's coordinated, and the program appreciate what you did. I do. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say how old I am, because that's none of y'all's business. But I will say the word colored is on my birth certificate. So y'all know what that means. Don't tell nobody. If you see your look at your old birth certificate when you were born, you see the word colored on there, mom and dad's colored, you know you in the old school. And nothing wrong with being in the old school. Isn't that right, y'all? Is that not right, y'all? Oh, and by the way, before I tell the station's history, everyone that's dressed lovely and looks lovely represents. You're a blessing to look around the room and see our people supporting one another and giving each other a hand, praise the Lord, and honoring each other and being with each other. This is the exact opposite of the portrayal of our community. Okay? I've been on the air in Nashville since 1986. I have been on the air, period, since 1979. I started my radio career in Topeka, Kansas, where the population is 10% black, 90% white. There were no black folks on the radio, and it wasn't a black station. So I started my career on a pop station. And I'm grateful for that, because that experience taught me a lot of the stuff I use today as far as knowing the rules, the laws, the regulations. There's a lot of legal stuff that goes in operating a radio station, and that helped me have a background. But I will say that my career in Nashville has been multifaceted. I have had an opportunity and a blessing. I worked at WMCA when I first came. I did the news over there in the morning with Teddy Barton. And you know that was unheard of in Nashville. They had a black woman on the radio doing the news at 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. That's how unusual that was for Nashville. Because people, when they hire you, and you're African American, and let's alone get a woman, there is some thought that goes into the process. It's not easy. When you are a female doing this, and you're a black woman doing it, and you're coming into an environment where you are the total minority or the only woman, that means you have to be 20 times better than everybody else. You have to enunciate your words better. You have to be able to speak the King's English, know how to curse around the king, and know what to do at the king's table. You have to know all of these things in order to have a job. I have been employed in media for 45 years. I am not a volunteer. I am the person that is paid in this city to do this job. And as a senior citizen, don't tell me about it. I personally am the oldest black woman on the radio in Nashville. And I got to think about it, and I'm like, holy cow, I still have a job, y'all. So don't tell about it. Don't y'all tell about it. But what I want to share, Mr. Gentry, I get blessed every time I talk to him. I interviewed his mother. I've interviewed a lot of those mamas and uncles and aunties in Nashville. I interviewed his mother, she wrote a book, and she was on my show twice. And he has been a guest on my show about 20 times. One of the first interviews he did after not winning the job as mayor in Nashville, which some of us still don't believe that. I was the person who grabbed his first interview to. He said, I want to come to the place I'm coming. I said, well, this is it. I'm at Fisk University. I know you're comfortable here. And I never will forget that. And you came up to the studio, because you and I felt like I was sitting. I think you described it as you felt like you wanted to get on the boat and get to an island quiet. You didn't want to make a lot of noise. And so that meant for me personally, I had to tone myself down because I didn't noisy. But he began to share with Nashville what it was like in his position. Well-known family and all this and that, and history and this and that. And he should have won, but he didn't win. And what folks were saying, what they were not saying, and what they should have done. And he laid his heart out to Nashville on that radio station. I will never forget that. Because he didn't want to talk to nobody else. He didn't want to talk to Channel 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He didn't want to talk to none of them. So I'm immensely grateful for that. I had an author on my book on my show Wednesday. She wrote a book about a legendary tiger bells at TSU. Give it up for TSU, y'all, okay? And a young lady that wrote the book, she's a big time writer. She came to Nashville to do her research and homework on the tiger bells. And this white lady. And I started reading in the book. I see his name in there. I see his daddy's name in there. I see names of people all over Nashville that are on buildings and everything. Nashville has a lot to be proud of, historically speaking. And it's my job, as I see it, to make sure that you are known to the city because WFSK Radio at this university is owned and operated by America's 8th oldest HBCU. Our community needs to hear things from our community. We should not have things told back to us. And it's important for me, because I love history, to share with the people and find the stories. And it's always fascinating to do interviews and have people on the show that have a connection to Nashville. There is so much here, so many people that have been here. I'm just grateful for the opportunity that y'all listen to me. I truly am. One of the things that I do want y'all to know before because that food done said that, some of y'all get sleepy. I already know, nap time, some of y'all already know. I do want you to recognize these things about WFSK. That is the very first African American FM radio station in the history of Nashville. Before it was the beat, before it was a 92Q and all that, it wasn't that. It was WFSK, formerly RFN like this. Those students are the ones that started that radio station. They understood how important it is to have a station that reflects you and reflects the community. Because all y'all had in Nashville was VOL and WLAC at night with John R. and the legendary Oscar, pretending like they brothers. I used to work with Hawks, by the way. My point is that you didn't have your own. You didn't have an FM frequency. You couldn't listen in stereo. You couldn't be exposed to great people and great conversations because that really wasn't accepted. So when those students in 1969 set out to go to Washington to get a license, they didn't just want something to sit home and play with. They wanted a real license to make it a real radio station. That station has a supreme place in history, and I just now finding out how important that is. We are participating in a historical Black college preservation project for radio. And WFSK is one of the stations that is in the project because our station here in Nashville, Tennessee is the 6th oldest HBCU radio station in the United States. Because there were times when Black people couldn't own things like radio stations. So it was very important and strategic what they did by applying for this, and then everybody in their other towns on that radio, or has worked there, or passed through, or heard something. That was the place where when a speaker was coming to town to speak, or Dr. King, or whoever it was coming to speak, or somebody else was coming to speak, or whoever, they did it from that station. When recording artists would come, or everybody whoever would come to Nashville, they did it at that station. When the Black Panther Party and people that nature came to town to speak about everything, they did it at that station because they could get the community's attention. And that is the goal of the project, to continue to get the community's attention. The station has a lot of competition, but at the heart of that station is the fact that it's owned and operated by the African American hear me? It's gonna stay that way. So I'm grateful that the Lord has given me the privilege to be able to find out a lot of great things about the station. It has a supreme place in history, and it's very respected across the country right now. And that's a gift. And we represent Nashville. Please do, if you get the opportunity, turn it on. I know it's not perfect, it's not booming, and it's not this, and it's not that. We do the best we can with what we have. I need you all to continue to support it, because without your support, Nashville, I'm telling you, it won't be there. You hear me? We're going to miss some stuff we don't have. So I need you to continue to support the station, lift it up, ask the Lord to be with us. It takes a lot, asking Father God. Because it's important that when people come to Nashville and they have a message for the community, that they have a place that they can come, and I'm not going to be cutting you off and silencing you and trimming it down and burning it up. If the man says it was so, it's so, and he said it with his lips, and y'all heard it. They didn't come in here and butter it up and make it pretty for you. You're going to tell the truth to these people. That is the job I have. So without that, y'all won't get no truth. I'm telling you now, there's a whole lot of stuff you couldn't hear in Nashville. Ooh, a whole lot. So I'm grateful, and I hope that you always remember that the community has birthed this great and wonderful thing, and it's the voice of Nashville. So I'm grateful. Thank all y'all. God bless you and everybody. Thank you.
Y'all give it up for Miss Sharon Kane, another local historian. I hope that y'all are enjoying that from Miss Sharon Kane. We thank you. We present this award to you, Miss Sharon Kane, in recognition of your hard work and outstanding dedication to this senior day of love and Black history at Northwest Family YMCA. We thank you so much for your time and for your efforts. We love you. Thank you so much. All right, y'all. Y'all got y'all raffle tickets. Let's call the raffle. Kenny goes to Playhouse Theater. Y'all get ready. I'm shaking them up real good. I don't want nobody mad at me. Everybody got their tickets? Everybody had it? Was able to get a ticket? All right. Who need a ticket? Raise your hand if you need a ticket. Y'all bear with the people that need a ticket. Give up just a moment. They got a ticket.
Hope you enjoyed a great meal. I am Sabrina Bernay Moore, the senior coordinator for Kitty Playhouse Theater. And today we want to present to you a snippet of a scene from piano lesson. Most of you all have a card or flyer with piano lessons, our information on there. It's coming up February 22nd through March the 10th. But Kitty Playhouse Theater always considers our seniors. So on March the 6th, mark your calendars, we have a daytime performance at 10 a.m. So please come out and join us. All the information is on this card that you need to go online or scan this QR code to get the information and buy your tickets now. You don't want to miss this. August Wilson is a world-renowned playwright, and Kenny Dozier, our director and founder of Kitty Playhouse Theater, brings the most phenomenal plays and performances to the Z. Alexander Louis Center. That is our resident theater. So without further ado, you will have a word to say without, no, don't act bashful now.
I got work to do. We welcome everybody, just like she said, we have a heart for seniors. That's why we started our Saving Our Seniors program, which means that every time we do a play, we have a daytime performance that seniors can come to. And this year, on this particular production, it's March 6th at 10 a.m. You can come over to the table, we can help you purchase tickets, show you how to find it on the website. Anything you need, we can do that. But we thought it would be good to just show you a snippet of one of the scenes from August Wilson's piano lesson.
When you don't pay, when you get to be a preacher, brother.
Every said he gonna be a preacher, so he gonna have to work.
I'm ready to get down. I wish I was playing time. You wasn't thinking about me already.
Oh, that must be your truck out there. I saw that truck out there with all them minutes. I was trying to figure out what it was doing in front of the house.
Yeah, me and mine is 7 watt bells. That's mine slow.
When he said you are going down to the bank,
Yeah, they gave me a half day off work. I got an appointment to talk to the bank about getting a loan to start my church.
I'm thinking so happy work. Where you working at, brother?
Edwin got one of them good jobs. He working downtown in one of them skyscrapers.
I'm working down in the park building, running an elevator. Got a pension and everything. Hey, give you a turkey on Thanksgiving.
How you go to rope ain't gonna work? Ain't you scared of that rope gonna work?
That's steel. They got steel cables holding up. They take a whole lot of breaking to break that steel. No, I ain't worried about that. That ain't nothing but a little old elevator. Now when we get on them airplanes, you couldn't pay me to do nothing like that.
That'd be fun. I read the two-headed ride on the elevators. How many of them water minutes you want that?
Oh, I thought you was gonna give me one. Since you got a whole truck full.
You can get one, get two. I can get two for that.
I don't want no one.
Brother, you know I give you water bill. Go on, take it as you want. Just need something for me and mine.
I can't even go one.
No. How you get to be a preacher, eh? I'm not going to be a preacher one day. Have everybody call me Reverend Lord Willie.
When it comes to me in a dream, see, I was sitting out this railroad watching the train go by, and the train stopped. And God called me and to be a shepherd over his flock. And that's what I'm going to call my church, the Good Shepherd Church of God in Christ.
tell him what you told me. Tell him about the 3 hobos.
Oh, boy, Willie don't want to get nothing like that.
I do. Lots of people say dreams come true.
No, you don't want to get nothing like that.
Go on. I told him you was a preacher. He didn't want to believe me. Tell him about the 3 hobos.
Well, it come to me in a dream. See, I was sitting on this railroad, watching the trains go by, and the train stopped. And these 3 hobos got out. They told me they was coming from Nazareth and on their way to Jerusalem. They had 3 candles. They gave me one and told me to light it, but to be careful that it didn't go out. Next thing I knew, I was standing in front of this house. Someone told me to go knock on the door, and this old woman opened the door and said they could wait on me. And then she led me into this big room. It was a big old room full of all kinds of different people. They looked like anybody else. They all had sheep ears and was making noise like sheep. I heard somebody call my name. I looked around, and there was the same 3 hobos. They told me to take off my clothes. They give me a blue robe, gold thread, and they wash my feet and comb my hair. Then they showed me 3 doors. They told me to pick one of them doors. When I walked through one of those doors, that flame lit like a candle. It seemed like my whole head caught fire. I looked around, and there was 4 or 5 other men standing there with the same blue robes on. Then we heard a voice say, "Look out across the valley." We looked out, and the valley was full of wolves. Then the voice told us that these sheep that I had seen in the other room had to go over to the other side of this valley, and somebody had to take them. Then I heard another voice say, "Who shall I send?" Some told me to say, "Here I am, send me." And that's when I met Jesus. He said, "You go, I'll go with you." And something told me, said, "Come on, let's go." That's when I woke up. My head still felt like I was on fire, but I had a peace about myself that was hard to explain. I knew right then and there I had been filled with the Holy Ghost and called to be a servant of the Lord. Now, it took me a while to accept that, but in a lot of little ways, God showed me it was true. So I became a preacher.
I see why you were going to the shepherd church. You dreaming about those sheep people. I can see that easy. Thank you, Lord.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kenny Dozier, Kenny Playhouse Theater. Let's see you in the house February 22nd through March the 10th. March 6th is our senior day.
Y'all, let's give it up for them. Let's hear local. In Nashville, right up here with the here. We have to show our support. They have a table in the back if you want to purchase some tickets, but I have to do a raffle for the